Hello, this is George, and I'm recording this video because I'm introducing two things. The first thing is the digital download store on my www.georgepruitt.com website. There I'm going to be adding different products that you can purchase and download and hopefully learn from the products you download, because I'm going to divulge all source code. And these little tools or frameworks, I like to call them frameworks because they can stand alone by themselves, but they're really designed for you to go into them and manipulate the code or manipulate the inputs and create your own trading systems. But I'm going to limit the price of these things to probably less than $50. So right now I've only got 2 downloads in my store. I've got the Camarilla, which you can get for free if you just fill out a form on my website, but sometimes it takes me a day or 2 to get to you. So if you want to buy it and get an instant download, you can do that. I sell it for just $10. The other product I'm selling on the store right now is the Day Trader ELDayTrader Framework. And I wanted to go over that real quick with you guys today and show you how this thing works. Again, all source code is completely revealed, so you can take pieces of it and build your own as a building block and build your own trading systems. But a lot of this stuff is not intuitive when you sit down to program your day trading ideas. It's taken me a long time to learn these things, so I think I can save you a lot of time developing a lot of these ideas because I've already done it. And you can purchase this framework for $39, and I think it will save a lot of time. And also it can be a great foundation for building your own trading systems yourself. So let's go ahead and real quickly I'll go over this. This is the manual that you get with the framework. This is what you would be following if you purchased it yourself. So what are we going to do? We're going to talk about getting your trading ideas into easy language and why is it difficult sometimes. Because when you go from daily bars to intraday bars, the complexity of your programming increases dramatically. And why is that? Well, many times you've got to keep track of the number of entries during the day. You don't want your entry logic to trigger off 50 trades on an intraday basis. So you need to be able to control the number of entries on a daily basis, and the framework shows you how to do that. It also shows you how you can interface with a daily bar calculation. I always like to use 2 data feeds in my day trade systems because I never know when I'm going to have to rely on a longer term daily bar indicator such as a 40 bar momentum. So my data 1 is usually the 5-minute or a higher granularity, maybe a 1 minute. And then my data 2 is daily, so I can reach down there and pull out the calculations I need, such as the 40-day momentum indicator. And let's see what else. What else do you need to do on a day trade basis? A lot of times you want to limit your entries to a certain portion of the trading day. Say you don't want to trade after lunch, or you don't want to trade the last hour of the trading day, or you only want to trade the first hour of the trading day. A lot of times calculating the time of entry can be difficult. And also, you may want to optimize that. You may say, okay, I want to start out with the first 30 minutes, but then, hey, maybe I want to trade the first hour, maybe first 2 hours. The framework allows you to optimize that type of constraint. It also shows you how to use volatility-based profit objectives and stops, fixed dollar stops, profit objectives. It also lets you use price, the percent of a price as a stop or objective. And then also it lets you set up different patterns, daily bar patterns, before you take an entry. Like for example, say you only want to take a trade if it's if yesterday was a NR7, Toby Crable's NR7. This framework allows you to do that, and it shows you how to do that as well. You can use volatility-based breakouts, such as I want to buy 30% of the average true range off the open if the criteria is met, or I want to buy the highest high of the last 6 bars. 6 times 5 is 30, so it'd be a 30-minute breakout if you're using 5-minute bars. Say you want to do the last 12 bars, 12 5-minute bars. That's an hour breakout. Now, this framework allows you to do that as well. Let's see, what else does it do? Day of week analysis. A lot of people believe in that. A lot of people say, you shouldn't day trade on certain days. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I've seen historical analysis that says, hey, buy Monday, sell Friday. But that type of philosophy is up to you if you believe it or not. But this framework allows you to, test your own ideas and see if it is true, holds true for you. So those are just a few reasons why you need to have these constructs built into your day trading framework, because you want to test as many ideas as possible. And you don't want to be limited because of something you can't program. This framework, I went through everything I could think of that people have asked over the years to include into a day trading system. And so I've tried to throw everything in there. I probably haven't covered everything, but adding things, other filters or other ideas would not be difficult to the framework. And I will add on things to this version. This is version 1.3. And if you purchase version 1.3, I think you definitely get free upgrades up to probably version 1.6 or 1.7, unless I do something really absolutely crazy. Okay, what will you learn from using this framework? Well, you will learn arrays and array manipulation. Don't get scared. I don't do very much with arrays and array manipulation, but it's a very good introduction to them. So if you want to learn more about arrays, and they're very important when it comes to trading systems and the development of complicated systems or algorithms, most of the time you have to dip your toe into arrays. Building your own protective stops and profit objectives, we know how to do that in this framework. If you don't, you will learn how to do that. How to keep track of the number of underlying bars and their extremes prior to a trade. A lot of times that's important to know. How to integrate multiple buy short setups and then optimize each one with different stops and profit objectives. So this way I've created multiple hooks, is what I call them, multiple ways to get into a trade, and that's in the source code. And they're just if-then constructs, but I've got a bunch of them, so you can go in there and manipulate those yourself if you want to. You don't have to. You can learn from them, or you can just interface with the inputs and play around with this framework. And then you get a system that says, okay, I want to do something a little slightly different than what George has programmed. You can use the framework as the springboard to do so. Okay, another reason I did this is because you don't know the ballpark of a lot of the parameters when you first start developing a trading idea. So my belief on optimization is to get you in the ballpark. It's not there to curve fit. So you got to be careful with optimization. It's very dangerous, very powerful tool, but a very dangerous tool as well. But you still need to be able to optimize things. And what can you optimize with the framework? Well, you can optimize your profit objectives. You can optimize the percentage of the average true range. Use as an input. Say you want a profit objective that's 20% of average true range. Well, that doesn't do well. Maybe it's 30%. So you can optimize that. You can use optimize the percentage of the entry price. Say I want to risk 0.5% of the entry price as my stop or profit objective. Or I just want to use a fixed dollar. I just want to say, hey, if I want to risk $1,000 and my profit objective is going to be $2,000, or I'm going to risk $500 to make $1,000. You can test that. Is it best to wait 30 minutes after the open to place an order? Or is it best to wait 60 minutes or 90 minutes? A lot of people say you shouldn't trade the first 30 minutes because you've got news reports, you've got all kinds of crazy things happening right around the open, which causes a high amount of volatility. Should you be in there to take advantage of it, or is the risk too high? You can test that as well. Is it best to initiate trades after 3:30? I mean, you only have, if you want to day trade at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, what do you have? 45 minutes left to trade. Is it even worth entering a trade at that time? So you can optimize that and test that as well. And then, of course, the day of week analysis. You can optimize. I want to only buy on Monday and Wednesdays. I want to sell on Thursdays and Fridays. You can test that. And if you believe in that philosophy, it's there. A lot of people do, so I put it in there. And here's an example of a day of week analysis optimization. This strategy, I can't remember exactly which one this was, but this on Mondays, this system made $11,300. You had 34 trades. On Wednesday, it made $4,800. On Friday, $3,000. Tuesday, $29,000. And on Thursdays, it lost. So 1 is Monday, 2 is Tuesday, 3 is Wednesday, 4 is Thursday, and 5 is Friday. And I explained that in the manual. Okay, so that's your day of week analysis, or optimization in this case. Now, is there a certain pattern such as a plus, 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 minus that precedes an up move? Or is there a different combination of a foreclosed pattern that really rings the bell? Okay, so you could say, you go in there in the interface and say, I only want to buy after 2 up closes. So you'd put plus, plus in there. Or I only want to sell short after 2 down closes. So you'd put 2 minuses in there. And you can put up to 10, 15, 20 strings if you wanted to. And right now, the way the framework is programmed, I'm only looking at differences in closes. An up close is a plus, a down close is a minus. You could go in there and change something like, okay, was yesterday's RSI greater than the prior day's RSI? So it'd be a plus. And if it was greater than the day before that, that'd be another plus. So you can go in there and get into the framework and manipulate these pluses and what produces a plus or what produces a minus. To save time, I always like to use one chart with 2 data. I always like the first, and I might have mentioned this earlier in the video, but I always like to use the highest granularity as data 1. Well, you should always do that. In this case, we're going to look at 5 minutes on the ES.D, which is the day session of the mini ES. And then data 2 will be the daily session because I want to do some daily calculations. So I always like to do that. You can use TradeStation's built-in functions to extract prior day highs and lows, but to put them in a for loop, you get a nasty warning. The warning doesn't seem to affect the results. They look very similar, but just to make things quicker and easier for you, I've created connections to a data 2. So if you want to follow along with this introduction, just set up a ES.D chart. Data 1 should be 5 minutes, data 2 should be daily. Okay, let's see how let's put this thing to work. In the manual, I give you 4 day trade creation or creator scenarios. Scenario 1 is very simple. It's a volatility-based open range breakout with a protective stop and a profit objective. So I want to investigate how this system performs, and I think I got 3 years of history just to make things quick. Of course, you'd want to do 10 years probably minimum on a back test. How are we going to buy? We're going to buy on an open range breakout of 20% of the 10-day average true range. So we're going to buy the open tick plus 0.2 times ATR 10, and we can only initiate a long position if yesterday's range is less than the 10-day average true range. Range compression. We're looking for a spring. We're looking for the market to kind of expand after a compression. It's like compressing a spring, of course, and then the next day or 2 it should expand. So hopefully you get increased volatility, and you can take advantage of it. And I only want to buy if yesterday's close is greater than the prior day's close, and the prior day's close. That's easy for me to say. And the prior day's close is greater than the day before. So that's a plus plus pattern. So the buy pattern string will be plus plus. Only buy after 2 up closes. And I only want to trade basically the morning session from 9:30 till 12:30. And I'm going to exit long at an entry price. Let me scroll this up so you can see what I'm talking about here. Sorry about that. I only want to buy during that time period, and or sell. Well, we'll do the short side in a second. I want to exit at the exit long at the entry price minus 0.4 or 40% of the 10-day ATR, or $500, whichever is closer. So if $500 is closer than 40% of the average true range, we will get out with a $500 loss. My profit objective is I'm going to exit long at the entry price plus 50% of the 10-day ATR or 600, whichever is closer. So it's if the 50% of the 10-day ATR is $400, I'll get out at that level. If the 50% of the 10-day ATR is $1,000, I'll get out at $600. So this is like my maximum I want to take out of the market each day, and you can optimize this, of course. Short is just the opposite. Open range breakout, 20% of the 10-day average true range. It's got to move down 20% off of the open. Yesterday's true range has got to be, it's got to be a compression day. The close has got to be less than the prior day's close, and the prior day's close has got to be less than the day before. That is a minus sell pattern, or pattern, only sell after 2 down closes. We're going to trade the same morning hours, and we're going to use the same exit technique for stops and profit objective. Okay, so here is the inputs for the day trade creator framework to effectuate scenario number 1. Okay, I'm going to go over this real quick with you, and then we'll move on to the actual testing of it. So this is the actual interface that you'll be confronted with when you insert this strategy into a chart that has data 1 as 5-minute and data 2 or less, I should say, or 30 or whatever, some intraday time frame, and data 2 is daily. User input 1 and 2 are for if you want to override things. Say you want to do your own calculation and you need the length of that calculation to be put in. You can use that in user input 1 and 2. Right now they're 0 because I'm not using them. I only want max buys today. I only buy 1 time today. That's all I want to do. I only want to short once a day. So basically, 2 trades are only allowed, 2 entries are only allowed during the day. Okay, my buy short setup, that's another customized input that you can use, and I do that in scenario number 4. So if you buy the framework, you get to see how I utilize that in scenario 4. We're working with scenario 1 right now. My buy pattern, as you can tell, is a plus. Buy only after 2 up closes. My short pattern is a minus, sell after 2 down closes. Use volatility based breakout of open, set that to true. Once you set that to true, it will start using these numbers to determine entry, and we're going to use, is it 20%? Yeah, 20%, 0.2 off the open. And we're going to trade, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, use 0.2 for short entries. Number 5, use time constraints. Start time is 9:30 and stop at 12:30. And I put 9:35 and 12:35. This number here, the 5 and the 5 are things you can optimize. You can say, okay, my base time is 9:30. I want to optimize minutes after 9:30. So if I wanted to see, if I want to delay the entry, say 30 minutes, I would optimize this number from 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 before you could take an entry. Same with the exit or the allowed time, the end time to allow an entry. And then I have the exit time. I want to get out at 1600 plus 5 minutes, which is 1605. I've got it set to get out on the close. If it's a holiday, historically, we'll get out on the close no matter what. If it doesn't make it till 1615 or 1605, then we'll still get out. I want to use a 10-bar calculation, 10-day calculation for my average true range. Use small range. That means wait for a compression day. We set that to true. What defines a small range? Well, 90% of the average true range defines a compression day. Number 9, use true range calculations. Yes, I want to use true range instead of just regular ranges. Which days to trade? I want to trade Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You'll notice that the R represents Thursday. If we had put 2 T's in there, it would confuse the computer. It wouldn't know if it was a Tuesday or Thursday, so we're using R for Thursday. We have the which day of the week optimizer. I misspelled which day of the week there, but in your framework, I've corrected that. Right now it's 0 because I'm not optimizing. I'm going to use 40% average true range as the stop, or $500. 50% of the average true range, or 600 is the profit objective. That's the inputs that we can change, or that's the inputs that are set right now for scenario number 1. So let me show you how that looks in TradeStation. Scenario 1, and as you can tell, this looks very similar to what we just saw. We have the plus plus, we have the minus minus, we use volatility breakout, 0.2, 0.2. So that is stayed the same. Let's go ahead and close that. And I call it, what I did do, I also added a new input called test name, because if you use this framework over and over again, you don't want to keep having to rename it. So if you want to put the test name of what scenario or what experiment you're doing, you can just put that right here. So when you pull up the input, you can see what you're working with. So this is scenario number 1. So let's close it. Okay, here is a trade on the screen. Does it match our criteria? Let's see. Let's squeeze this down a little bit. I needed to have 2 plus closes before I entered the trade. Here is the close of this bar. Is it greater than that close? It certainly is. Is this bar's close greater than the prior bar's close? Let's double check that. And it looks like it's going to be greater. So you have up close, that's plus, plus, okay? This ATR value, if you look at it, it looks small. That's your average true range calculation there. Sorry about that, I hit the wrong button. So it looks like there is a range compression. You can kind of tell that this bar, well, I'll get it back on the screen for you. You can kind of tell this bar is a range compression bar right here. So then we've met the 2 criteria. We have 2 up closes, we have range compression. We're going to buy 20% of the average true range off the open. The market opened here, the market moved up, and we got our buy breakout, and it happened before 12:30. So we can trade from 9:35 to 12:35. So we fit that criteria as well. So our entry took place in that window. And then I had a long profit. This took looks like $600. Let's see, 38.35. Entry 38.35.50, and we got out at 38.47.50. So what is that? Yeah, 12. That's 12 handles times 50 is $600. So the $600 profit objective worked. Now I'm going to show you real quick, and because this is getting long, I do want to optimize something real quick. Let's optimize, and you'll get that in scenario 2. Let's format the strategy. I want to optimize the day of week. I just want to see what this thing does. I want to go from 1 to 5 because there's 5 trading days in a week, right? I'm going to see if this thing works better on a certain day. And this is selling short as well. As if the criteria is met, it will go short. Let's optimize it. Well, that's optimizing, which hopefully won't take but a couple more seconds. Here's the kind of I'll give you a little snapshot of the source code. Here's all the inputs, and here's all the if-then constructs. If you're using in our module, in our day module, range compression module, that's turned on. Use that. There's your source code for that. Range expansion. You have all kinds of volatility breakouts. If your buy pattern, here's a buy pattern. If it's not nothing. If there's something in there, then you got to make sure it matches. Then trade pattern is true or it's false. All that's in there. So there's probably in the framework a total of 300 lines of code, maybe more. Like I said, if dollar profit is greater than 0, meaning you've got a value in there, this is how you get out at a dollar stop or profit objective. This also will calculate show you how to calculate time offsets. which if you don't know how to do it, it can be kind of difficult to figure that out. This is really cool here. This is my code that shows you how to do the day of week stuff. Where's that at? Here it is. This right here, this is really cool code here. So I'll leave that to you to play around with it. But I think it's worth purchasing just to get this source code. Let's see what the optimization looks like. Yep, it's done. It's just calculating the best results. Let's go ahead and view the optimization output. And let's see what this looks like. Yeah, for the past 3 years, the system has done okay. Sorry about that. Not too good. As a standalone, this system hasn't done that great. Let's go back to that, and let's change this color to a dark green. I don't know why it goes lime green. I always have to go to the positive values and make it a dark green so you can really see them. Okay, so this system is best to trade on a Monday. I don't know if it's long or short. We could test that. You want to do that real quick? Format strategy. I want to use the framework. I want to optimize it Monday through Friday. It remembered the 1 to 5 that I did last time. Okay. But I only want it to buy. So I'm turning these off. The sell short and the buy to cover. You probably don't need to turn the buy to cover off. I just do it just to be on the safe side. So we're only buying and getting out of longs. And we're going to optimize it. So let's optimize it. You won't have to watch this. I'm going to pause the recording for you. Okay, let's look at the optimization results. Okay, this system liked to buy on Fridays, so which is kind of unusual, but we're definitely in a very unusual market situation for the past year or so. We could also do the short side, and all you got to do that, let's do the same thing. Format strategies. I want to do the same optimization, so let's make sure we set that back up. And of course, we're still following the plus, plus, minus, minus rule. You could actually put plus, 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 plus for 4 up closes. And we could also expand the time. Let's go ahead and use day of week. Let's optimize that again from 1 to 5. In this case, let's turn buy off, sell off. Let's put sell short on. And let's go ahead and hit on for buy to cover. Let's squeeze that down so you can see that. Those are off, those are on. Let's optimize it. This is this level of optimization. This isn't a very fast computer. It's actually one of my older computers, but it is slow. But I tell you, you put this on multi-charts where it's using the multi-core, because I've got 4 core on this computer here. This would have been done in 14 seconds instead of a minute. So for you multi-chart users, you know optimization is so much faster. If I have to do an in-depth optimization, I can switch over. I can just import my easy language right into multi-charts and use it for my and of course I use my TradeStation data to feed the multi-charts. That's the only thing about multi-charts is difficult is it's so generic for different data feeds. Sometimes it's hard to set up the data feed, but once you get it set up, it's probably seamless. I still like easy language. I mean, I like TradeStation because everything is so seamless. If you get the data, it's just slow, and eventually they'll use multi-core and take it to 64-bit. I hope. Until then, we have to put up with the speed. I do have an i5 chip computer, and the optimizations are faster. They're not tremendously faster. I mean, probably 2 to 3 times faster. But until they go to 64-bit or multi-core threading, you're going to have to deal with this type of situation with TradeStation, which you shouldn't be optimizing that much anyways. And what's really slowing us down is if this was daily bars, 20 years of daily bars would be done within a matter of seconds. But we're looking at 5-minute bars, and we're doing calculations on probably every bar. we could probably speed it up by going in there and saying, okay, if this is the first bar of the day, then do your 40-day momentum calculation or your whatever. And that does speed it up a little bit, but not much. Okay, let's look at the optimization. This is shorting only. Okay, well, the shorts didn't mind. You could short on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can short on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, or even Thursday. Don't short on Friday, which is goes against the grain of what we've kind of always thought. So you could short this thing on Tuesdays only and buy this thing on Fridays only. And your performance would increase considerably, but is that curve fitting? I'll leave that up to you. And this has been a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but again, check out georgepruitt.com and check out my digital store. And I appreciate your attention.